When making a new commander deck, you might think about your win cons, and sometimes these will be combo finishers, a set of cards that combine to win the game. But it is very common for me to see players worried that their deck might be too strong with certain combos involved. Combos have a sort of negative stigma about them that causes players to be hesitant about playing them. So in this video, I'll show you how to check your combo to make sure it's okay at casual commander tables. But first, if you like tutorials like this, consider subscribing. Thanks. Alright, so for casual commander, many people say that your combo needs to have 4 or more pieces or cost X amount of mana or more. But really, the only ones you might want to avoid are those that require very specific answers, like the Thassa's Oracle combo. You need counter magic or stacks pieces to beat it. But other than combos that absolutely require a very specific answer, other than just generic removal, play any combo you want. See, the power of a combo does not come from the combo itself, but instead the context of your deck. Look at this deck I just made. It has Kenrith at the helm, one of the most powerful commanders, and the Thassa's Oracle Consultation combo, the best combo in the format. And then the rest of the deck is basic mountains. This deck is not good. Though it has the best commander and combo in it, it's still pretty bad. This is why one individual data point, price, fast mana, tutors, combos, card draw, mana base, doesn't actually make a deck powerful. Look, I could swap a basic land in this deck for a Mox Diamond to make it way more expensive. And I can turn the mountains into Arabian Nights mountains to make them even more pricey. But the deck still isn't good, even if I swapped out one more basic for one piece of fast mana. The main issue of having like 90 lands is still present. So now, onto the real topic of the video. How do you determine the power level of your deck? If you look at my casual lists on Moxfield, you'll see that many of them have powerful cards. Fast mana and tutors aplenty. I don't hold back on Mana Crypt or Exploration or any other powerful card. Yet some decks, like my Grenzo list, I've played against precon decks without ever having a game feel like my deck was too strong. Part of this is my casual decks don't have combos for the most part. I want to make it super clear that is not me disliking combo or discrediting it as a win con. I'm just a crazy person who wants to grind out a win over 200 turns with a jank value engine. But without combos, even if you have fast mana or tutors, you can't win super quickly. My decks are never going to win on turn 4 because they literally can't. And tutors without combos are still powerful, but not quite as powerful. Many people complain that tutors make decks feel the same every time you play them, but that only is true if your deck has one win con that you tutor for every game. Instead, my tutors find removal or card draw or board wipes or whatever I need at the specific moment. It becomes a toolbox to search through my deck for the utility pieces I need, making each tutor find me something different, which leads to different games every time. So that's it, right? The combination of these 3 pieces: tutors, fast mana, and combos. If you lack one of those, it heavily restricts the power of the other 2. Just tutors and combos means you can find your combos consistently, but you're not able to power them out super fast, meaning your opponents have plenty of time to interact. Fast mana and combos means you could potentially get a quick win, but you're lacking a lot of that consistency. This isn't all there is to the power level of decks. I do have a casual deck that has a combo in it. My Gruul, Mina and Den lands deck. It's probably my strongest casual deck, although the combo is not the reason why. Let's look at these 2 decks, my Grenzo list and my Gruul deck. They both have fast mana, they both have tutors, and many powerful, individually strong cards. The difference, though, is the themes. If both decks are not restricted by budget or what cards are allowed to be put in there, in both of these decks, I'm playing the best-in-class cards for most of my slots. But one deck is Power 2 or Less Matters / Goad, and the other is Rampant to Kozilek deck, which is going to be more powerful. The Landfall Ramp deck, I think, obviously. Oftentimes, a theme that has more support is going to be stronger. This is why elf and zombie decks are more powerful than cleric and skeleton decks. Even if you had access to a higher budget and fast mana, your skeleton tribal deck is probably still not as good as someone else's zombie tribal deck. They have more lords and just synergy pieces. But we can see this with many other themes. Treasure decks have tons of incredible synergy and are basically good in every color. Blink decks also have a ton of support, and there is no shortage of good ETB creatures. Honestly, you can probably go to EDH Rec and check the top themes or types to see which ones have the most support. The popular ones generally have the most support. You can also safely assume that if you play one of the more popular themes or types, your deck is probably going to lean on being more powerful, because you just have access to more synergy pieces. Alright, so is that it? The power level is based on the 3 ingredients: combo, fast mana tutors, and how well supported your theme is. Almost. There's a little bit more to it. This will put your deck along the sliding scale of mid-power decks. Because contrary to popular belief, unless your deck has a critical mass of nearly every fast mana piece, nearly every tutor, and the most efficient combos or win cons you can play, your deck is not a CEDH deck. It won't spill over to being a overpowered competitive deck. It is unlikely that your casual spellslinger or zombie deck will be able to win the game by turn 3 consistently. Your deck is almost certainly totally fine to play at your local game store. If you clicked on this video because you're worried your deck is too powerful for a random table, don't worry. It's mostly going to be fine. Although there is a gradient to power levels, like if someone has a restriction, such as only commons, then their deck might be a lot weaker. But most mid-power decks will not overpower other mid-power decks, given that people play enough removal. If they lose to a combo that could have been stopped with removal that they don't play in their deck, that's on them. Players are responsible for their own fun in some regard. And instead of worrying about your deck, especially if you play with a regular playgroup, maybe encourage some more removal or counterplay if they can't seem to beat one of your decks. This has always been my approach. If I win a game of Casual Commander and somebody complains about my deck, I simply ask them, hey, do you run artifact removal? Do you run enchantment removal? Or maybe I'll ask them why they use their counterspell on this player's commander, even though it didn't seem necessary at the time. A lot of people like to blame other players' combos or decks for their loss. And it's the same if you play any other online game or something, right? It's never your fault, it's always your teammates or the opponent's doing something. But a lot of times, your loss is very much your fault. My real goal with this video is to encourage you to think more about your plays and your deck building and have fun with whatever you like. If there's a random combo in your deck, don't sweat it. But if you disagree with me after all this, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more.